Good morning, reception. Today I'm going to read you my favourite book of this year. Yesterday, Mrs. Hussein read her yours, and she asked you to think about what your favourite book is. I'm really excited to find out what yours is. The title of mine is called Charlie Cook's Favourite Book, and it's a book all about favourite books. Shall we start with the blurb so we know a little bit about the story? And we remember that the blurb is always on the back of the book. Once upon a time there was a boy called Charlie Cook who curled up in a cosy chair to read his favourite book. I can tell already that this is going to be a rhyming book. Book and cook, they rhyme. Charlie is reading a book about a pirate, who is reading a book about Goldilocks, who is reading a book about a knight. There's something for everybody in Charlie's amazing book. Let's get started. And it starts how all of my favourite stories start. Once upon a time, let me get it so you can see the story. Once upon a time, there was a boy called Charlie Cook who curled up in a cosy armchair and read his favourite book. Here's Charlie Cook reading his book. About a leaky pirate ship which very nearly sank, and a pirate chef who got the blame and had to walk the plank. The chef swam to an island and went digging with his hook, and at last he found a treasure chest, and in it was a book. It's a classic. About a girl called Goldilocks and 3 indignant bears who cried, "Who's had our porridge? Who's been sitting in our chairs?" They went into the bedroom, and Baby Bear said, "Look, she's in my bed, and what is more, she's got my favourite book." I wonder what Baby Bear's favourite book is. About Percy Pinkleton, a bold and fearsome knight, who told the dragon, "Wait, I'm not quite ready for this fight. You must hear this one first." And then his armour clanked and shook. Ho, ho, he, as he read aloud a joke from inside his favourite book. About Rowena Readalot, a very well-read frog, who jumped onto a lily pad and jumped onto a log, then jumped into the library which stood beside the brook, and went, "Read it, read it, read it," as she jumped upon the book. About an oak tree full of birds, each bird had built a nest, and they had a competition to decide which one was best. They chose an owl to judge it, and the winner was a rook. This is the rook. I can tell he's the winner because he's got a big smile on his face. If you look at the other birds, they look a little bit grumpy. Whose nest was lined with pages from his very favourite book. About a girl who saw a flying saucer in the sky. Some small green men were in it, and they waved as they flew by. She tugged her mother's sleeve and said, "Look, Mum, look what I've just seen." But Mum said, "Hush, I'm trying to read my favourite magazine." About a wicked jewel thief who stole the king's best crown, but then got stuck behind some sheep which slowed his car right down. The king dialed 999 and soon the cops had caught the crook. Cops is another word for policemen or police ladies. And flung him into prison, where he read his favourite book. About a greedy crocodile who got fed up with fish and went on to land to find another kind of dish. He went into a bookshop, and then he even grew greedier while reading on page 90 of a large encyclopedia. About the biggest birthday cake the world had ever seen. The team of royal cake makers had made it for the Queen. The cake was so delicious that a famous spaceman took a slice of it to Jupiter and also took a book. About a ghost who glided around the castle every night, carrying her head and giving everyone a fright. She kept it up till morning, and then she found a shady nook and put her head back on again to read her favourite book. about a cosy armchair and a boy called Charlie Cook. The end. Now, I think that's my favourite story at the moment because it's got so many different stories in. It's got real stories. It's got stories about knights. It's got stories about Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So there's a story in there for everybody. Now, yesterday, Mrs. Hussein asked you to draw a picture of your favourite book or your favourite story. I'd love you to go and get that picture now, and I'd like you to write a sentence or some words about your picture. And I'd really like to know later on why that story is your favourite story. Maybe that's a sentence you could write. This is my favourite story. Or I like it because, and then write why you like it. I'm so excited to see you later for our last Zoom.